please put your hands together for our next storyteller. Please give it up really big for MariTurvey, everyone. Mary, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
So I am clinging like Velcro to the side of a snowy mountain. Mike is several hundred feet below me on the edge of a cliff. Just moments before, I watched in horror as he plummeted down toward that cliff, convinced that I would see his painful and untimely death until Providence stepped in at the last minute and he landed just before flying over it. Now it's my turn to go down that hill. It was supposed to be a simple hike. Mike had purchased an RV to be lodging for the upcoming ski season and asked me if I'd like to join him and his dog Sasha for a test run. When we arrived at the Alpine Meadows Ski Resort, we saw another couple with an RV who had the most adorable golden retriever puppy that they called Spike. Spike and Sasha made fast friends, and when we decided to go on the hike, we asked the owners if we could take Spike with us. And they agreed because they were going out for the afternoon, and they didn't want to come home to whatever puppy bedlam Spike had in store for them. So we went up the mountain. The dogs were tumbling over each other. It was early winter, so there wasn't a lot of snow. And what snow there was didn't deter us from getting to the ridge because it wasn't very deep, or when it was, there were tracks from hikers before us. And we got up to the top of the ridge with those 360-degree views and that beautiful lake below. Who wouldn't lose track of time? The sun started to go down, and Mike decided that we should turn back. Now, having successfully crested the mountain with snow, he didn't think twice about us trying to go down that snowy slope. He had some mountaineering skills, and he taught me how to sit on my butt and dig footholds with the hiking poles that we'd brought with us. And so we crabbed along that snowy ridge for a little while. But Mike got impatient, and since we had been so successful thus far, he decided to do an advanced technique. And it was in demonstrating that advanced technique that he fell on his back and started spinning down that hill, leading me to my current predicament. I'm not the mountaineer that Mike is. Little foreshadowing there. I'm not the mountaineer that Mike is, and I didn't have his help. But I came up with a plan. In front of me was a huge tree about 50 feet downhill. And if I could slide into that tree, just beyond that was shrubbery that went all the way down to more level and snowless ground. I was ever mindful of the cliff. I needed to be precise. I readied myself for the launch, and just as I was about to shove off, I hear, I turn around, and there is Spike. His little puppy back feet slipping out from under him, and his front paws anchored as he was terrified that he was going to fall. Sasha had abandoned him, and feeling somewhat abandoned myself, I knew we were in this together. Trembling at practically every foothold, I inched my way back up to Spike and grabbed him and held him to my chest, and then gingerly went back down to reposition myself. And I launched. And within seconds, Spike decided he wanted no part of hitting any tree. And he bounced out of my arms and skittered down that slope like a water bug on a pond, disappearing completely from my view. Now, Providence had spared me the anguish of telling Mike's daughter that he wasn't coming home, But now I was faced with the prospect of telling perfect strangers that their puppy wouldn't be coming back. But I didn't have much time to think about it because when Spike jettisoned, he threw me off course, and I struggled, and I used the hiking sticks as I could as a rudder, and then I slammed into that tree, and I had a bruise that I carried for weeks to come, but gratefully so, because my plan worked. I was able to get over to the shrubbery and down the slope, where I met up with Mike, who was bruised and bleeding but mobile, and Sasha, who was prancing around like a little princess because she obviously knew to steer clear of humans with bright ideas, and she made her own way down. And Spike, who was exhausted and had his little puppy head on his little puppy paws, staring straight ahead, thinking whether this all meant that he had been given away to a new family who would threaten his life on a daily basis. We walked down the hill somberly and gave a wildly exuberant Spike back to his owners, who thanked us profusely for taking such good care of him. Mike and I were spent. We pulled up stakes and drove away. Sasha took her position on a banquette in the RV that she wouldn't have permission to be on, but we had no energy left to caution her. But as I looked at her, the only one unscathed in our adventure, I thought, never will I trust the highly evolved reasoning of a two-legged animal over the primal instincts of a four-legged animal ever again. Thank you.